Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode 114 of the On Air Advocate. Where at the On Air Advocate, we look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am the host and producer of the On Air Advocate. And I am super excited if you are taking time out of your Friday afternoon to watch us right now, or whether you are catching this on the replay. Now, please know that if you think any of the content we're chatting about today could be relevant for your audience, your circle, your friends, your family, please hit the share button and share the love. Well, as you guys know, we are in our rare disease awareness interview series, and I am so excited to welcome this afternoon, Emily Anderson. Now, Emily was introduced to me by a mutual friend of both of ours, and she had written an article in a magazine that we have here in Milwaukee County, and I was so incredibly moved by the depth of her conversation that I was like, she has to be on the show, and she definitely has to be on the Rare Disease series. So welcome, Emily.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you here. And before we kind of get started getting into more of the layers of kind of what that article was about and all of the advocacy that you do here in our county, can you kind of share with the audience a little bit about your background, about yourself and your condition?
Yeah, so like you said, my name is Emily. I was diagnosed with a rare condition. It's called Friedrichs Ataxia. So it's genetic, and when I was so I was born with it, but let's say when I was 9 years old, the symptoms kept started showing up more. Like my gait, my walking was a little off. My reaching with my arms and my hands were starting to get more shaky. My speech started to get a little more slurred. And I started having just more trouble in general. So I started going to the doctors. I started out at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin Milwaukee, and I I just started there from when I was 9 years old. But first I was starting in Sheboygan and just seeing regular doctors, and they said this condition that you may have is just too much for us to handle, because they didn't really know about it. So they sent me to Children's, and ever since I was 9, I have been searching for a diagnosis. I've been to every not hospital, but I've been to every doctor, specialist, everything since I was 9, and I was diagnosed at 13. So I've been in hospitals, just to any appointments for so many years, and that's how rare it is. My condition is the doctors didn't know about it, and the doctors that I have right now are still learning about my condition. They they know a little about it. They know the word ataxia, but they don't exactly know Friedrichs Ataxia. So it's a learning process for all of us. But I'm 21 right now. So I've been living with this condition more so than in the past. So it's progressed quite a bit. I'm in a wheelchair right now. I'm switching to a power chair. I'm having a lot more trouble just doing things independently. I guess I don't know what else to say.
Well, let me ask you a couple of questions. So before the age of 9 years old, was there any signs or symptoms that led you to, or your parents, to thinking there might be something going on before that age of 9? Do you know that information?
Yes, so as soon as I started walking, I always had flat feet, and that means that my feet have no arches in it. So I've always had very flat feet, and my walking was always different because of that. And my parents always asked about that in my pediatrician checkups or whatever when I was a toddler or whatever. And the doctor just said, "Oh, she's just learning how to walk. She'll probably grow out of it when she starts walking a little more," but I never did. So since I never did grow out of it, which my doctor said that I probably would, um, they, my parents just started noticing a little more. My mom noticed like my reaching with my arms and my hands were getting a little more off. My dad noticed that my gait was off, my walking, and I was having a lot of leg pain. I kept falling all the time. I was, I mean, I fell so much. I hurt my legs. My legs were in pain a lot. My feet were in pain. I've I've just had so many symptoms that my parents just said, "Okay, this is it. We're going to get an answer."
Okay. And then once you started this process, what do you know? Because I know you were telling me before this segment started that this condition is so rare. It's 1 in 50,000. 1 in 50,000. So what do they know right now about the condition? Obviously, they haven't learned everything, as you're saying. But what are the things that they do know?
So
Like some of the
my
symptoms, like what is the progression of it?
the progression is just it starts from your feet basically and just works your way up in your body. For me right now, it has started in my feet to the legs and now it's in my core. So I'm weak in my legs. I can no longer walk, and my core, my abs are just not very good for stability wise. So but other than that, they know it's they understand the gene part. There's always my doctors are always telling me and asking if I want to be a candidate for research, if scientists or whatever want to do testing to see a little more like for a cure, possibly that. I mean, I've turned it down because I'm a little sketchy about that, but I mean, once there's a cure, but I I really haven't done any research
Okay.
things.
Right. And as we talked about, like on yesterday's segment, is that what some don't understand is that when conditions are very populated and there's lots of people who have those conditions, adults or kids, there's so much more research and dollars that go towards them. When you're in this skinny pool, you don't have as many not only support systems, but you don't have as many organizations that are researching and have the funding because people don't even know that the condition exists. You know,
Mhm.
which can be extremely, extremely challenging. Is there an organization just for your condition?
There is, it's called FARA. So it's FARA, which stands for Friedrichs Ataxia Research Association. And through that website, it's just any information like of new medicines, new treatments that they're finding, new information, the updates on like how far they have come in finding a cure. They always say, scientists always say they're very close, but I always take that, I don't know. So,
with a grain of salt, just like
yeah,
it may take a while. So we're going to drop that link below. But now I want to get into that article you wrote. And I hope that any of the viewers, before you watch this, I did post the article the other day, so you guys can go back and you can read it. We'll also drop the article within this feed after we're done with this segment. But you have this condition, and obviously things have deteriorated a little bit over time, correct? You went from having these abilities and has progressed. And in that progression, you have seen a lot of environmental challenges that people don't even think about, because I think our world is so absorbed with, if it's not affecting me right now, it's not affecting my family member or me. Sometimes we close our eyes to it. And I thought that you articulated that so well. Can you kind of go over some of those frustrations and things you've seen in our city? Because I'm sure they're happening in other cities as well.
And you've said it perfectly. I wrote that article out of frustration. Because I go every day, day to day in the city. I go to the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, and so I'm downtown quite often, and just downtown in public areas or whatever, I have seen so many inaccessible, I mean, for here, it's Wisconsin, and the weather has been really bad. It's been very snowy, very sleety, just very icy. And what people don't do on business sidewalks, let's say, they shovel the walkways, but they don't shovel I don't know what it's called, but like the part that it's not the curb, but like the part you roll down and go into the street and cross and stuff. They don't shovel that. And even when I'm at UWM, people don't shovel that. And I've had to get gloves that are waterproof because I've come home so many days from downtown or wherever I'm at is because of that purpose, is my hands are just frozen, they're wet, they're just so bad. So that's one concern that I've always seen. Whenever I'm in a public place and I need to use the bathroom, let's say, there's always, it's a guarantee there is somebody using the handicap stall. There's only one handicap stall in the entire bathroom, and there's like dozens of stalls for other people. And some people I've asked some people, like friends and family members, like, if you use that stall, what's the purpose? Why do people like that stall over other stalls? And they just say, oh, I like more room. I just like more room when I do my business. And so it's very frustrating because once I have to use the bathroom, I have to use the bathroom.
Right, and there's only one stall for you, and there's 12 others for others.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so, I've had to wait long periods of times just in the bathroom, just waiting for that stall to open. And whenever that stall does become open, the person walking out there's no visibility of a disability. And so I don't know if they need the hand railings. I don't know if they need that extra space, but I just don't see anything, and it just frustrates me.
And
That's
I would say that what about bathrooms have you encountered that aren't even accessible? I mean, I'm sure you've encountered that too, where, different coffee shops, different places you go don't even have a big enough bathroom. Have you encountered that in downtown?
I have. I was I was actually not in Milwaukee when I saw this bathroom, but it was a handicap bathroom, handicap stall, very big, very spacious. There was a raised toilet. There was everything that you could ask for in a handicap bathroom, but there was no railings. So I couldn't use the bathroom because I need those railings to help stand up or transfer or whatever.
Okay.
Um, so that's a big concern for me.
That sometimes there might be the space there, but the other things to make it safe for you to do that aren't there. And I know
Right.
for those that have followed our show for quite a while, we have done a huge campaign also for in the bathrooms, not having bathrooms with adult changing tables as well as a
Yeah.
huge issue, because that can happen to any of us, that we can become incontinent at any point in time in our life, or our elderly loved ones, or our young adults or ourselves. And so there's a lot of need there. So I know the bathrooms, and I know what you were speaking of, the ramps that lead up to everything, and just thinking more about that, especially here in Wisconsin in the winter, then you really can't go anywhere. So as if they have the path done, but you can't get the ramp to get your chair up there, that would inhibit you from going to any of those places.
Mhm. But yeah, sometimes ramps aren't even shoveled. Sometimes um I've I've even had to ask for help if someone could just push me up that ramp or just open the door for me. Like some doors don't have handicap buttons for me to open. Because I can't do two things at once. I can't push my chair and I can't open the door at the same time. I just don't have that ability. I know other people in wheelchairs are very good at that, but me, I don't have that strength. And yeah.
Now, I know one that really always gets me is the handicap parking spots. And I wanted you to
Yes.
speak to that, because I always am like, you should be blessed that you have legs, and
Yes.
about that all the time. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Um, it's so frustrating to me. That's probably one of the biggest reasons I wrote that article that I wrote, is people just wherever I go, if I need to go to the store or if I need to go to the movie theaters, whatever, there's always people in that spot in cars that do not have handicap sticker or a license plate. And I'm not saying they don't need that spot. I'm just saying that if you don't have a sticker or a handicap license or just forgot to put it up, then yeah, it's very frustrating. I mean, I go everywhere with my mom. My mom drives me, and we've had to like circle the parking lot like numerous times just waiting for a handicap spot to open. And the people, again, who are walking to the cars, just like the handicap stalls, they are, there's no evident disability that they have. Um, and they don't have a sticker, like I said. So it irritates me. It really does.
And I've
Um,
some people parking way too close.
right, right.
This,
And there a lot of places don't have a lot of handicap spots. There's only a few,
Mhm.
and there's like thousands of other parking spots. and there's a few handicap spots. And like you said earlier, that people should be blessed if they have the use of their legs. So where are they using it? I mean, I said in my article, I would give anything to use my legs. I would, if I was able, I would walk everywhere. I mean, I would, if I had to drive, I would park the furthest parking spot away. I'd walk everywhere.
Right, right. So anyone who is listening, it is not an excuse in any state you live in. If it's cold, if you're tired, if you're a stressed out mom or dad, there is no absolute reason as to why you park in a handicapped parking spot if you sincerely do not need it. It is a pet peeve of mine as well. I don't understand. And that's really the excuse you hear. If you ask people the reason why, and that would be the same thing for the bathroom. Well, I really had to go. Or there wasn't any other stalls open, and we can make excuses all day, but it doesn't make it right. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. For the things happen. Is there any other things that really stand out to you, just within, because obviously our city is very much like other cities, from the sidewalks and clearing, parking spots, bathrooms, that you really feel is not respected in the way that it should?
So I like shopping. I live in Milwaukee, a suburb of Milwaukee, and I like to go to Kohl's or whatever store there is, and they always promote their accessibility, they're wheelchair friendly, but the Kohl's that I go to, the aisles are extremely narrow. I can't even shop for shoes in some aisles because my chair doesn't even fit down the aisles. And if I have to push racks of clothing out of the way, I do that. And if the racks don't move, I roll over clothes. I mean, I'm not gonna be nice and say, "Oh, I'll go around." No, I'm gonna just go because that's what I want to do. And if an employee tells me like, "No, if you roll over that, that's not a good idea," then I mean, I've complained and said, "Yeah, I've rolled over that and I got it all dirty, but you know what? You
Promote yourself to be handicapped accessible, but you're really
right, right." And I've taken pictures of aisles in shopping stores. I've I've complained. I've done everything that I can. I've talked to managers. I've done everything I possibly can, and there has nothing has been done. And I mean that that's another reason I wrote the article, is because nothing's being done, and so somebody has to speak up, and that's what I've learned.
And speaking to that, just think, for all the viewers who are listening right now, how many times have you been in a department store and even you were carrying a big purse or a big bag and you can't even get through the clothing aisle? You know what I'm saying? And you're walking on your legs and it's like they have them this tight. So just think about everyone else, that has different mobility issues. They can't even, at some point, some of them are so tight, I'm assuming that you sometimes can't even get the racks apart, or if it's like the shoes, you just can't go down them. And I just don't think that when we talk about clothing stores, different shopping stores, coffee shops, schools, sometimes like those things are not taken into like they're kind of taken into consideration, but and it's kind of like a great layout when they say, okay, we're going to be accessible, but do they really walk through the steps? Like they put it together, they say they are, but do they ever map it out and see that it really actually works in real life? Like anything can look good on paper or on a sticker that says that you guys offer this, but if you're really truly in a chair, does it work? Who is the person who tests that out? What have your responses been from some of these people that you have confronted, like through management, different stores, things like that? What has been your response that they've given you?
I mean, I'm very nice. I'm very nice. I'm talking just like how I'm talking to you. I'm not like raising my voice or being mean just to like get this done right now or whatever like that. But the other day I actually went to the Milwaukee Art Museum and the elevator was broken. And so I had to, a friend had to push me all the way around, and it was just a big walk, and it was freezing, of course. And I was freezing, and my friend was just out of breath from pushing me, and we were just so upset that I went to the front desk, and there was I don't know what it was, like some sort of meeting going on, a reception. There were like thousands of people there, and I I was talking calmly, but I was talking very loudly. I was calm, but I wanted to draw that attention because of how upset I was. And they've, I mean, in the art museum, because I've raised my voice, I was, because I was talking loudly, they gave me free tickets into the museum. So, I mean, I've been through that experience in many other places, and they've they've given me free stuff, and I said, well, instead of just giving me free stuff, maybe you should fix it. Um, and also, I want to say, like last year, maybe I went to a movie theater with a family friend, and she was pushing me, and there were no handicap accessible doors, and so she was obviously struggling. Like you could see, like she was struggling, and there were employees or whatever they're called, like sitting at the front desks ready to sell tickets or whatever. And there was no one in the theater at the time, and they were watching her struggle, pushing me. And she saw that and even like really exaggerated her struggle. And it was um once we finally got inside, we were like, thank you for the help. That was really kind of you to help us. And then when we got the ticket to whatever movie we wanted, they sold us the ticket. They showed us where the theater was, and they said, and we started walking, and they were like, oh, by the way, there's no elevator. And we were like, then why did you sell us a ticket? And they didn't say anything, and we're like, excuse me, this is the 21st century. You're supposed to be accessible if the building is newer. Where are you just sitting there doing nothing and taking our money and just selling us your products or whatever?
Money back.
Yes.
I hope they did that afterwards.
Yes.
How frustrating
Yes.
to not only struggle to get in there, but then to get in there and then them not to tell you that before you purchase your tickets.
Yes.
Very,
Mm-hmm.
very frustrating.
Yes.
And so as you continue, which I am just, I'm amazed, and I love your tenacity that you just keep on pushing and you are using your voice, because that is the only way we are going to create change with any of this, is that when you see something that's going on, that you stop and you talk to someone. Now, maybe, that manager might blow you off for that moment, might pay a little bit of attention. But if all of us did that same thing, that when we saw something that wasn't right, we actually approached it and used our voice, how much change we could all collaboratively make together. As you know, we're in the year 2019 now, and I know that some of your mission is to continue helping people with disability rights, advocating and doing advocacy in our city. Are there any organizations that you belong to do that, or is it more just particularly each and every scenario of places you go out and about, writing articles, things like that, to build awareness?
There's not really any advocacy groups I'm a part of. I can't really, like, if I go up to someone, like, sometimes I'm shy. I don't want to always say something, but if I want to say something, I can only get my words out in writing. So that's all I do is, I wrote that article. I was hoping to get a response, and I obviously did, which is great. I also want this word to get out to able-bodied people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking about it. So, because inside of our community of different abilities, we already know these things. This is for everyone else, that is out there that, possibly you're not affected by it. But I always tell people that in the blink of an eye, your life could change, and this could be you, and this could be a family member. This could be a close friend. It could be your elderly loved one. And so we need to stop thinking, because it's not affecting me right now, well, then it doesn't matter. It's affecting tons, hundreds of thousands of millions of other people. And, I think that goes back to also practicing kindness, being aware of other people aside from ourselves, which is thinking outside of ourselves. And so that's an even much bigger issue, is, people looking, not just staring straight and always being focused on what they're doing, but looking at the individuals that are, around them and their struggles and how they can help with that. But I, Emily, commend you for writing that article. I hope you write 100 more articles.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope you do that. I hope you continue to, use your voice. And I hope that at no point that you're afraid to shout out those businesses that are not living up to the standard, and commend those businesses that are. Because I think that sometimes, we say what people are doing wrong, but there are some businesses and organizations that really are striving to, be accessible to everyone. And we should commend them for making that effort and making sure that they're following through with what, they're doing. But for those others, I hope that you're never afraid to shout those people out, call those managers.
Yes.
And let them know. And so I hope by, our viewers listening, that everything that you spoke about, you think about that tonight on your drive home, or the next time that you're in a department store, a grocery store, a coffee shop, you're parking your car. And hope that I'm not in the parking lot if you're parking in the wrong spot, because I am not quiet about that. We have legs. We need to be using them. And so, is there anything before we wrap up today, Emily, that you'd like to share? Anything else with the audience?
Well, for me personally, I love talking about my condition because it's rare, but I've spent so many years trying to search for what I have, and not a lot of people know what I have, so I like informing people if they ask. If I'm friends with somebody, sometimes I just, I have this, right? What's wrong with me, right? I'll just right away come out and say it. And then if I really don't like it when people on the street saying, "Oh, I'm praying for you," or like, "I wish I was you because I want to be sitting. You must you must have so much fun." And I'm like, and I'm just I'm a nice person, so I'm just saying, yeah, it's nice sitting, very quietly, and so, but I'm 21, like I said, I can't be a regular 21-year-old because I have to have a caregiver, and because of my fatigue, I have to be home at a certain time at night to get ready for bed, to go to sleep, to take care of whatever I need. Um, I need to make sure I eat. I can't drink a lot of alcohol because it's really muscle relaxing. Um, and I can't be that regular 21-year-old. I mean, um, my mom is my caregiver, and I can't be up late because she has to go to bed too. She has to get her rest. And so I can't like go to like go out anywhere with my friends and stay out all hours of the night because I have to get home. I have to get ready. And then another thing too is I can't be a regular 21-year-old because maybe my friends' cars, they can't fit my wheelchair. They can't take my chair apart. They don't feel comfortable with helping me into their car or just supporting me while transferring anywhere I go. They just don't feel comfortable. Probably they just don't want to. So, many Friday and Saturday nights I'm at home basically because a lot of people just don't feel comfortable, and so it really irritates me when people say, "Oh, I wish I was you," because I don't wish I was me, almost partly because I only don't wish of the disability part. So
Right, and having rare disease. And I think that, like we talked about at the beginning of the segment, I mean, for the rare disease population, which is 350 million people worldwide and 7,000 different conditions, you're in this small population that there's not a lot of answers. There's not a lot of answers of what to expect, and what's going to come next 10 years from now, what's going to come 5 years from now. And can you imagine living with that each and every day, not knowing and not having clarity, and knowing that there's not a ton of research that's being done towards it because it's such a small population? And so, and I'm sure from just some of the examples that you gave, I think that sometimes people don't know what to say, I mean, because they don't take the time to look into our different abilities world and really embrace it. So they just say things. I mean, I don't know. It's very, very random. I'm sure people come up to you on the street and when you're places like you were just speaking to, and people say things, and I'm sure you just want to say to yourself, did you really just say that to me?
yeah.
Is that what you just said to me? I'm sure that that is the place. But despite all of this, how do you still have such a positive attitude, in the sense of you get up every day, you get to UW Milwaukee, you get to school every day, you're studying English, you're still going out, you're going shopping, you're doing those things. Can you just tell the audience, I want to know, how do you feel like you carry on that positive attitude?
Well, to be honest, I haven't fully accepted my condition. Like, part of me still feels like someone's hiding behind that bush, gonna jump out like, "Oh, fooled you." So part of me just hasn't accepted that. Part of me, like some days, I just want to stay home and curl into bed and just not be seen by anyone because because I have so much trouble. But I go to UWM and I write, I do all that stuff because I want to be busy. If I'm not, then I'm just stuck just with my thoughts, basically. Like,
Do you
oh,
feel
you
like
can't do
writing
this, you can't do
is,
that.
is writing an expression for you? Do you feel like writing is something
Yeah,
that keeps you in a very positive frame of mind?
yeah, I do. Um, I just, I like writing fiction. Um, and I like writing about historical facts, historical fiction, um, things that are not like a happy ending, like the truth. Like it's almost like my life. Like I want to say the truth. It's not always a happy ending. It's not always a happy ending for anyone. So I like writing about those things because it just I mean it frustrates me when I see a Hollywood movie like, oh, it's like perfect. I'm gonna fall in love. This is gonna happen, or all that. It's like it's not always that way. Like people like me grow up watching those Hollywood movies, expecting that to happen. And I don't want other people, when they read my stuff or whatever I do, to look at that and think that, like, oh, it's always going to be a happy ending. It's always going to be like this or anything. It's not always true. It can be, yeah, of course, but it's not always true.
Right. And I think when you spoke to even Hollywood, the way that media and social media and everything portrays things, I don't always think is the best, because you're right. That's not always the way that it ends up. And, I have been though happy to see that at least there's a few more movies and things coming out that at least integrate those with different abilities, mobility issues of different kinds into movies. Because I think that that's so crazy to think that we have to get excited to see someone like us in a movie, you know?
I
I mean,
know,
it doesn't get
yes.
everyone like, I've noticed a couple of things. Like there was that commercial during the Super Bowl that Microsoft did that had some individuals with different abilities, and it got like 900 million views, and everyone was so excited. Shouldn't they already be in your commercials? Shouldn't we all
Yeah.
be, if we're having acceptance for all, we should all be in commercials. We should all be in movies. There shouldn't be, this stigma around.
Yes, and that's what bothers me too, is my friend on Facebook just shared with me that they're making Barbie dolls with in wheelchairs or with prosthetic legs or blind canes or whatever ability they will have. They're just starting to make those, and I'm
Year 20, almost 2020, right?
I'm 21,
I
yes.
know, but we're in the year 2020. It's a really long time it's taken them to do this.
Yes. Right, right.
Hmm.
But I feel like there should be more rights. There's so many like days like, oh, it's awareness day for this or awareness day for that or whatever, but I do not see awareness day for disability or anything like that, or different abilities or anything like that.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. And you know what I did read, and this is going off the topic, because obviously we're talking about rare disease in this segment, but I read that Mattel, for the dolls, the Barbie dolls, years ago, I think it was back in the early 1990s, they tried to create a Barbie doll that was in a wheelchair, but guess what? They didn't think it through, and they didn't make it adaptable for any of the other equipment. So they had the Barbie house, but the Barbie in the wheelchair couldn't fit into the house. So it didn't go anywhere. It was on the market for like 3.5 years or 2.5 years, and they took it off the market because they didn't make it fit into any of their other accessories. And so I'm hoping that this time they got it right, so that, I mean, who would want to buy the doll that doesn't fit into any, of the stuff? But, being aware, I don't think that sometimes the general population realizes that, the different abilities community is the most discriminated against community of individuals in the entire world. We are made up of all races, size, colors, shapes, and everything. And so I think that, a lot of times, though, we're just not always on social media. We're not always out there because we're tired, because either we're a caregiver or we're experiencing it ourselves. And we don't have always time to complain or campaign for everything, but you are doing your part, Emily.
Yes, thank you. And another topic that I really want to bring up is things like insurance or the state or anything. They say they have doctors on site, but they obviously probably don't, because I need physical and occupational therapy, but the state is saying, no, why are you needing therapy if you're not going to get better? It's like therapy is only for people getting better. And I hope this makes sense.
Yeah,
So
a lot of times the insurance does that.
like I found out a few days ago that I've been donated a handicap van, and the van company that's going to help pay for this said that they have never seen somebody in Wisconsin get approval for a handicap van. And so, I mean, I was just very pleased that I won that case. I proved a big enough case, because I can't get into cars. I can't go places on my own. Some parts I can't get my chair through the snow, which I said, I can't do that. So I need a handicap van to transport me wherever I need to go.
Right. And how did you do that? Did you submit a whole bunch of letters? Did you and your mom work on that?
No, what happened actually, I work, the company that I'm with, that many other people with disabilities have to go through, it's called DVR, Department of Vocational Resource, I want to say. They help disabled people get jobs and keep jobs. And I said, I need this ban, because if I can't get the physical therapy, my disease will progress, and I can't go to school, and I can't get that job I want. So they finally said, okay, yes, we'll do it. Yes, we'll give you a van. DVR has paid for the computer which I'm on. They've gotten me so many other equipment that I desperately need for my schooling to get things accessibility wise.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
You rock. Because you know what, the DVR isn't always in all different counties great to always work with. And so that means that your DVR is very much involved, as well as you are advocating extremely well for yourself. So that's promising, and that brings hope to others that sometimes are within that struggle, that are looking for different services and different supports that sometimes don't get, approved for. Kind of like you were saying about the therapies, that can be very frustrating, because obviously your condition will just progress faster. Even if it's not going to completely change your condition, it still helps your mobility going to therapy, period. So, all of those things, and that's things that other individuals don't always realize, is even the struggle that way, the struggle for everything from the transportation to the medical end of things, to everything down from how are you going to shop to where are you going to park? I mean, there's so many things in a day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But go on.
When you were talking about that 1990s Barbie doll who was made to be in a wheelchair but couldn't get in the house or go up the stairs of the dollhouse or whatever, go anywhere, that kind of brings up another point that I live in an apartment with my mom, and we're in a handicap accessible apartment, but the only thing that's different is the only thing is hardwood floors. And I mean, to get to my sink in the bathroom, like if I have to wash my hands or brush my teeth or whatever I need to do with the sink, I can't get to the sink because I have my Friedrichs Ataxia. Sometimes, usually, all the time, probably causes scoliosis, and so I have a spine fusion. I've had scoliosis, so since I have that spine fusion, I can't turn my body to the sink. So, my occupational therapist, I brought that up to. She said probably just get a ball and just do it right there. But that brings up so many issues that I can't get in my own handicap apartment.
Right. So if they're saying it's accessible, the only thing that's different about the apartment that you're in is that it has hardwood floors.
Yes.
Many issues.
Right.
About that. So what is that really? So I guess that would take us to a whole different type of segment that we need to do at another time, which would be, what does that really mean when someone says they're handicapped accessible?
Right.
And you're going and looking at places or thinking it's adaptable. Is it really truly adaptable, or is it only one small piece of it? And if you fit into that perfect box that it will work for, then you can utilize it. If not, it's not for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So many things. But I wanted to, thank you so much, Emily, for coming on the show today. I know that in the future, I want to have you back on again. I want you to keep on campaigning here in Milwaukee. I want you to keep on writing articles. I want you to submit them to me. I want you to submit them to all the journal, everyone, just because it is so important for you to continue to use your voice. And I just love that. I love that. So on that, we are going to drop below the different links that we had. So that article to M Magazine, we're also going to drop below that organization, is it Farva or Farva? Mm-hmm.
Friedrichs Ataxia Researchers.
Yes, it's the abbreviation for that. And you're really good at saying that. I'm not very good at saying that. So it's that.com. So we'll drop that below. And they are always accepting donations for research, there, and it explains the condition a little bit more. And we'll have that below. And if you guys want any more information about the other services that we do offer over here at the On Air Advocate, you can go to onairadvocate.com. Also, if you want to become part of our private community, you can head up to the top of this Facebook page. You can hit the blue button, and that will let you into our private group. And again, Emily, I commend you for all of your strength and tenacity to continue moving forward, using your voice, and making such a difference for disability rights.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so glad that my article brought up so much attention.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes. And like I said, if you haven't read it, it's going to be dropped below. You guys need to read it. And then, like I said, we're going to have Emily back on again. We're going to talk about other stuff. So I know she's going to think of more stuff
Oh, yes.
that we need to address. All right. So on that, thank you guys so much for watching this afternoon. And everybody have, if you're in Wisconsin, a very safe weekend, because we are going to be under a weather advisory again, starting in just a short bit. If you're in a warm place and state, enjoy the sunshine. All right. Thanks so much, Emily. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.